Hello and thank you for watching this ag forecast for the Northeast U.S. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. So we take a look at the satellite picture. We've got Sally departing now, what's left of Sally, a very messy, disorganized system, taking all of its moisture off to the east. We've got a front making its way through the northeast today that's going to bring in cool and quiet weather as we head into the weekend and early next week. Again, here's a look at the radar. Much of the moisture departing off across the Atlantic. We'll be setting up for our next 7 days that will be rather dry across the Corn Belt and across the northeast region. The last 72 hours of precipitation, it's been quiet across the northeast. We've had some moisture off to the north. We've had all of Sally's moisture down off to the south. It's been quiet here across the northeast, all the way back across the Corn Belt and into the western U.S. Now, as we look at the next 7 days of forecast precipitation, again, continuing to look rather quiet across the northeast. We have Teddy out across the Atlantic here that likely is going to not be an issue here across the northeast. We're watching for the potential that it could be kind of flung back towards northern portions of Maine here into Nova Scotia, but that looking like an outlier situation or an outlier possibility at this point. Right now, looking at a quiet next 7 days across the northeast. And that looks like it's going to be a cooler next 5 to 7 days across the northeast as well. Temperatures averaging anywhere from 5 to 15 degrees cooler than average over the next 5 days. We will start to warm up across the western U.S. as we build some ridging in across the region. So here's a look at the jet stream pattern that's going to take us into the next week. This is the big trough right now that's bringing in all of the cool air to the region. So the cold front now riding this wave. Sally now riding this wave as well, being tossed out across the Atlantic Ocean. This is going to be the situation here as we head through the better part of the weekend into early next week. We've got this little wave that's making its way finally across the Pacific Northwest into the northern plains of the U.S. Some ridging there is going to allow some marginal warm-up across at least the northern plains into parts of the Corn Belt as we head into the next week. But troughing across the northeast is really going to make it tough to warm up as we head into the early part of next week. Now, here's what I was talking about with Teddy. You see it start to make its way in here across the right side of your picture. We see this trough kind of dig in across the Atlantic, and then it picks up Teddy here and then flings Teddy just north of Maine at this point. This is what the European operational model is saying, but it just picks up that little back piece of the trough, whips it back into the coast here. This is as we get into Monday and Tuesday, so something to watch as we head through the weekend. And then we get another trough that moves through and brings in some more cool weather to the northeast. So this seems to be the pattern across the northeast. But really the only wild card here that could bring some precipitation, is going to be Teddy. So we'll have to watch that, but looking unlikely at this point. The reason for this, again, this pattern, we're looking at the precipitable water within the atmosphere, so our moisture content. And again, we've got an extremely dry air mass in place across the northeast right now on the heels of this big trough. Again, we're looking at this big expansive brown shading. This is your front. This is the air mass change here. This is the cool, dry air mass. And you see it comes down here across the northeast. The dry air starts filtering even down here across the southeast into the Gulf Coast. All of our moisture now is wrapped up in this little tropical low that's situated across the Gulf. We're watching that one for development as well. But this one keeps the moisture wrapped around here across the Gulf. So even as this little wave makes its way through the northern plains, you see that swirl into the Canadian prairie. This thing is sucking on a lot of dry air out of this ridge of high pressure. So instead of pulling up moisture from the Gulf, we got dry air in place across the Midwest, across the Northeast, all the way into the middle part of next week. So it's just not a pattern that's really conducive to significant organized rainfall, even if we've got systems coming through here mid to late next week. So as we look at the temperature pattern, then cool air filtering into the northeast right now, and it is going to sit there until at least the middle part of next week. We could see some ridging making its way in. Again, I said that's most likely across the northern plains and the Great Lakes. We could see a warm day or two as we get into mid to late next week before, again, the pattern continues to favor these little shots of cool air across the region. So total precipitation, the precipitation forecast here, again, a big expansive area of high pressure in place across the region right now, so we'll be quiet as we head into the weekend. We'll watch for Teddy maybe to bring some moisture to northern portions of Maine, maybe Vermont, New Hampshire on the more extreme end. Again, I'm mentioning these as a possibility, but right now it doesn't look likely. It looks like maybe Maine picks up some moisture here and some breezy conditions from Teddy as we get into the early to mid part of next week, right around Tuesday and Wednesday. Otherwise, high pressure continues to sit across the region. Maybe a little bit of moisture with a late week front right around September 25th. That's the only thing I can find here, bringing organized precipitation across the northeast region. It's all the way out there 7 days into the future. So as I just show you a raw output here between now and September 25th, this would be the next 7 days. Again, a big dry corridor here from the Central Plains into the Corn Belt, into the northeast region, where things look entirely dry, if not just maybe a splash of a shower here, maybe bringing 1/10 of an inch, but I don't know where that comes from at this point. Could be breezy at times. Again, with Sally departing, we're going to see some big waves off the coast with some very strong northerly flow as we head into the weekend. Again, you can see the very strong winds coming from northeast to southwest along the coast here. So choppy conditions across coastal areas, and then perhaps at times some breezy conditions as some of these systems make their way through, but certainly nothing that's not unusual for this time of year. Here's a look at your highs over the next few days as we wrap this up. 50s and 60s today and tomorrow. That'll linger even into Sunday. We start to moderate or modify the air mass just slightly as we get into Monday and Tuesday, bringing 60s and maybe a couple 70-degree readings back into the region. And then we do have to talk about some sub-freezing temps too. Spotty across the entire region here Saturday and Sunday morning. It's a little bit tough to see, but our color bar here actually flips over to white where we get those sub-freezing temperatures. So certainly across northern portions of Pennsylvania, back off toward the northeast, across the remainder of upstate New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. Some areas could be flirting with some sub-freezing temperatures as we head into the overnight hours during the weekend. I hope you have a great day, a wonderful start to your weekend. We'll be back to talk to you again on Monday morning.